let me set the stage for our theme today. It's a fun one. It's a nice one. Some of them are not fun. Okay, but today's is fun because it's about the greenhouse. This is going to function like a tuning fork that you have to keep fine-tuning, because one of the greatest amazing things about you women is you are often psychological contortionists, and you can bend and twist, and I think we call it adapting and accommodating. Some people call it being a helpmeet, until you are no longer distinguishable from roadkill. Okay, that's not the goal here. We do not want you to be stretched and pulled into a taffy. We want you to be a real person. Plants can adapt and grow. They can grow through cracks in sidewalks and break the sidewalk. If you've lived in a twisted world for some time and you're trying to imagine a greenhouse, you're like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I have no idea what I'm trying to accomplish. Most of the time, if you find yourself in this room, you're trying to push and pull and shove and try to maneuver things and trying to get things to be different. This is why it's so important that we spend plenty of time in season 4, so that you're not just trying to duct tape and super glue your greenhouse. It works better. It's super scary to do this, but it works better to melt the whole thing down and start over. Okay, people around you can be confused by that. What you doing? I'm melting down my greenhouse. Okay. Then if they're still in their own development, what does that mean about me? Like, you are so out of my brain. I don't even have a clue what to do with you. Don't look for the way you're supposed to do it. Do not look for the way you should do it. If you're still living off of shoulds and supposed tos, then we're in the wrong part of your brain. Plants don't need to be told what they should do or what they're supposed to do. When you start to gain confidence in yourself, whatever comes out of your mouth is what's supposed to come out of your mouth. Whatever comes out of your brain is what you were built for. And so it can be super scary when you've had tons of people giving you all sorts of feedback and they have yet to approve of your way of thinking and doing things, but we need to have your uniqueness on this planet. We often meet people who've been taught about boundaries, but they haven't been taught about greenhouses. The problem is boundaries are often like running around with a stack of cinder blocks, and you just have a space where it feels like someone's crossing, and you just throw up a cinder block wall right there, and then you just walk away until you get breached again, and then you throw up a cinder block wall over there. And so now you have these random cinder block walls that don't really have any structure or meaning to them, and then people just walk around them, and you're like, duh! And so if you start with boundaries, you're gonna have a pretty ugly greenhouse, okay? And it's not gonna work. It's not gonna do what you want it to do. So if you've been taught about boundaries, I invite you to set those aside for a minute. We are going to use a version of boundaries, but they're going to look more like greenhouse walls instead of cinder block walls, okay? And they're going to be pretty, and they're going to be nice, and they're not going to be ugly, since you actually took the time to build them on purpose and intentional, and you know why they're there, okay? It's not just a bunch of panic-driven things. This is why we often have to start in a place where we're not panicking. So withdraw to a safe distance for season 4. If you're in the presence of someone who's disrupting your ponder sessions frequently, then you may have to change your living arrangements. And oftentimes, you're so convoluted, your intelligent brain can't figure out how to do that. Like, how do you do that? Well, the pioneer women, they were chased out of their homes. They took wagons across the frozen Mississippi, and while they were out in the snow, they thought about what to do next. So don't underestimate your ability to be adaptable under difficult circumstances. I had one woman who just walked out to her car, put her kids in the car, started driving. That was as much planning as she had done. And she drove, and the only plan we had was, as long as you're driving towards Utah, you will always find a Relief Society president somewhere. And Relief Society president gets a phone call, hi, I'm in my car with my children, we've driven 200 or 2,000 miles, and we need a place to stay tonight. I've never met a Relief Society president yet that goes, sorry, we can't help you. Like, I have a garage with some sleeping bags. Let's get you set up. In order to do this correctly, you have to get yourself to a place where you can ponder and think and reevaluate and come at it from a new direction. You got to get everyone's voices out of your head. He says this, she says that, my mom says this, my neighbor says that, so-and-so says this, and the only voices you can hear are other people's. Where's your voice? We got to find it again, or else we're never going to get anywhere. But hopefully by the time you get to this point, you have at least experienced it some. So this is where we're doing the risky thing of putting ourselves back into a place where the weather can have an impact on the greenhouse, the conditions can have an impact on it, but a well-built greenhouse is already ready for that. You're not ever going to be in a relationship with someone where there is no unfortunate weather patterns. They are mortal. They're going to rain sometimes, they're going to storm sometimes, they're going to snow sometimes. Even if they want to be sunny all the time, I don't think they'll be able to do that. But a well-built greenhouse doesn't collapse under that because it took that in mind. Now, if you live in a place that has tornadoes and earthquakes and tsunamis, that's when it might be time to move. Okay, so you're the only one who knows what you can and cannot do. Humans can be very creative in the way they survive difficult circumstances. Now, if you've been around for a little while, you'll see that this is like my 10th attempt to describe this greenhouse concept because it's hard to describe. I'm going to keep trying until everyone says, oh, I get it completely. There's a really good description in the New Worth book. This is separate from that. How to construct and maintain a personal greenhouse, how to anchor it into unshakable sense of identity. Look at that clever phrase. Unshakable sense of identity, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's pretty cool. How to continually reinforce our purpose through intentional remembrance and practice. Notice it says intentional. What I recommend first, ladies, is you got to make sure you spend some time starting to get to know your identity. If you have not done so recently, take this test. It's based on the Myers-Briggs. It's a beautiful website, well done. Lots of good information in it on if you're needing to start to clarify your identity. It's one of my favorite places to, if someone's just coming out of identity diffusion and they are like feeling like scrambled eggs in their brain, like I don't even know where to start in this head of mine. Before you can communicate boundaries, before you can share boundaries, you have to know where they belong. Before you know where they belong, you have to know what identity you're protecting, what identity you're trying to nurture. You have to remember that part of identity is what you want to be, not just what you are. For instance, when I entered the adult world, I had a high math aptitude, and I was good with computers, and I was good with technical things, and I had questionable social skills. I knew how to be fun, I knew how to be funny, but I didn't know how to be like safe. So the term levity, being willing to be funny at the expense of others, is my understanding of the term levity, and that was easy for me. I had quite the talent, okay? Not one I wanted to keep forever. I wanted to become cerebral or academic. I wanted to be a thinker. I wanted to be a ponderer. When you're raised in Southeast Idaho by farmers, that's not important. We're doers. We get things done. We make things happen. We move things forward. Why are you sitting there thinking when we need to get things done? My parents never told me to do my homework. They never checked my grades. They were never interested in that. It was more important that I got my chores done than I got my homework done. That was the culture I came from. And so there was no emphasis on this. So as you're doing this, do you want to be cerebral? Do you want to be a doer? Do you want to be a feeler? Do you want to be a thinker? So as you take these personality tests, don't fill them out based on what you have been. Don't fill them out based on what other people think of you. Let yourself fill them out in the form of what you want to be. I can't say that's who I am or who I have been. That's not as relevant to me as what direction I'm going. But now I have to build a greenhouse to protect that. Okay, now I have to build a greenhouse to make sure it has a place, an environment for that. Avoid the temptation to read this like a school assignment and feel like you're obligated to write answers to each one as if it's a paper you turn in for school. The better approach is to bring a prayer in your heart, slide across the different questions until one stands out for you. You do not have to answer them in order. You do not have to answer them with long answers or short answers. These are ponder stimulating questions. That's the whole point behind them. And it's designed to access things inside of your brain, inside of your spirit, and brush the dust off of them and maybe even chisel them out a little bit so you can see what they are. It doesn't matter what they're supposed to be. Do I have a designated sacred space where I can reflect, recharge, and connect with divine guidance? Now, if the first thing that comes to mind is that's impossible in my situation, where there's no point in even trying. No, that's not impossible. You might have to get in the car and go down to the local library while kids are at school or not at school and use that as a space. What daily or weekly rituals help me feel grounded and align with my true self? You can change the wording in there if you want, like help me feel centered, help me feel in tune, help me feel clarified. If the answer is I have no idea, then this might be a ponder point for you to go discover and plan and try a few things. How can I remind myself daily of my divine worth and potential? If that's something that slips through your fingers sometimes, if you get other people's voices in your head so often that you can't even remember who you are, because lots of people like to give feedback.
If you're finding this video helpful or want to help us reach others in need, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because it really supports our channel. Thank you.
It's not about the walls, it's about the plants inside the greenhouse. It's about what does it need? How does it grow? What is the ideal environment? How can I help it sustain? And so if If all you're doing, like we talked about at the beginning, is just when you see a need for a wall, you throw one up, you'll never have a greenhouse. And it'll just be aggravating because you're just trying to stop and start other people's behavior. For me to function at my best, I need an hour of time alone, quietly, away from everyone else, including the person I'm married to. No offense, but they are thinkers. If you married a thinker, they're going to think and then they're going to talk when they think. And that's going to get in your head. For me, if I haven't done my own thinking before I listen to my wife, I'm more protective of my thoughts, like, get off of my thoughts, because I don't even know what I think yet. But if I've already clarified what I think, I can listen to hers like the rope tied to the top and I got my hands free because I'm secure in my thinking. So I can open up to other person's thoughts and I don't have to have boundaries. In a perfect world, you are married to a man who is interested in the construction of your greenhouse. And there's not two greenhouses. I know this seems weird, but don't there have to be a greenhouse for the man? No. There's no greenhouse for the man. He has man in the mountain. He goes up there and he sits alone with God and they do whatever they do, guy stuff. They spit and make body sounds and I don't know. I do know because I'm one of them. Let's walk you through what you're going to experience in reality. Your ambition is going to pull you and courage pull you back into an attempt at the relationship. You're going to bring your resilience and you're going to bring your blueprints for your greenhouse and I'm going to be the woman. I'm going to be me. I'm going to hold on to it this time. And then something happens when he starts talking. We become flexible and adaptable and adjustable and hold on it, hold to it. Now it's even harder when he gets it right for like an hour and then you're a sucker because you get pulled all the way in and you're like, I like this guy. He's adorable and he's sweet and he likes me and he thinks I'm important and I matter, and you have a positive 5 minutes or 20 minutes or hour or 3 hours and 6 hours and you accidentally hope it's going to last forever. And they lived happily ever after. And like, we don't ever have to go back to that dumb boy again. You can even do that thing that some smart girls do when it's starting to warm up and you look at him in the eyes and say, we're never gonna get dumb again, right? I'll tell you what he's gonna say, right. We're never gonna get dumb again. Can we make out now? Because he actually wants to be able to do it right. I actually believe them. But there's this thing called human development that gets in the way sometimes. Okay, we get a little glitchy. That's fine. So predict it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and we're back in winter. Okay. That right on schedule, knew it was coming. Bust out your books, bust out your journals, bust out your nail polish. I don't know what you guys do. Even if a guy can describe his marital mission statement or in his identity statement something that he's not currently bringing to the relationship, it is wise to plan as if it's not going to be there. Plan and until you are not resentful about it. Okay, so what we mean by that is if he's not going to bring it, and you're going to stay in the relationship, then you need to not resent what's missing. You need to be grateful for what is there, not resentful for what isn't there. If you can't do that, you may want to get out of the relationship so that you're not experiencing resentment. Everybody has a spouse that is not bringing some things and is bringing other things more than we even need. I call that bags of zucchini, because there was a year around here where everyone was dropping off bags of zucchini on their neighbor's porch because there was so much of it. And they just started trading them because there was too much. Thank you for the generosity. Don't need more zucchini. Appreciate it. If you're going to stay in a relationship with someone, it is vitally important that you be grateful for what is there and not resentful for what isn't there. For your own sake. Some people are under the impression that being resentful helps other people improve. Check yourself. Are you hoping the other person will improve because you're resenting them? It's a weird idea when you say it out loud, right? If we're going to empower people, they've got to start getting personal revelation and using Ether 1227 in their spare time so that the weaknesses, that things that need to be addressed, go directly from God to them. And the DPAR system is what's supposed to be used for that. I was talking to a pre-married fellow the other day, and we were talking about the woman he was dating at the time, and he was coming along nicely, and he was deep in the relationship. He was trying to figure out, I really hope she takes this part of her development seriously. I hope she takes that part of her development seriously. And I'm all, okay, hold on a second. If you're focusing on one area of development in another person, what about the next one and the next one and the next one? And so we talked about, if I was to do it over again, I think I got it right on accident when I chose the woman I married, because I wasn't specifically looking to make sure she had a personal development system in place before we met, so that we wouldn't be building it while we were married. Think about your own adult children. Why do you want your daughters to have their own personal development system in place before they get a husband? Why do you want your sons to have a personal development system in place before they get a wife? I even told the men because they can be arrogant. I don't want to use Maurice's tool because I want to do something better. I'm all, fine. If you can find some personal development tool that's better than the DPAR, by all means. I mean, the one I was using, I replaced with a DPAR when I found it, so I was thinking I had a pretty good thing going. But for some reason, when I run into something written by prophets, I have reason to believe it's a good idea. especially if it's like blatantly scientifically sound. Discover, plan, act, reflect. Simplicity and genius in the same package is a rare thing, so you might as well keep it and use it. If you are in a relationship with someone who is not skilled at reflecting, I would suggest at least finding out if they want to get good at it and they're trying to get good at it. If they don't even care, then you have a decision to make. Do you stay in Nebraska or do you move on? Don't try to get them to change. Just say, okay, thank you for letting me know. If they're not good at discovery, if they don't know how to do discovery, that's fine. But if they don't even want to, I just don't like learning ways to be a better person. Okay. I find that weird, but who am I to judge? Planning, I just don't like to plan. I don't even want to get good at it. I have no intention of becoming good at planning in such a way that I can share my thoughts and plans with another person. So these are weather checking. And by the way, these are very helpful greenhouse building questions as well, because do you want someone inside your greenhouse who doesn't respect the reflect, discover, plan, act cycle? So you can make a boundary that says, if you're not that kind of person, then you are on the outside of my greenhouse. If you are that kind of person, then you're on the inside of my greenhouse. See, that's a boundary. But you don't tell them to change something, you just assess. If you're a big dog that likes to dig in the dirt and tear up plants, you don't come in my greenhouse. I can't tell you not to be that kind of dog if that's the kind of dog you like to be. And if you want to stay married to someone who doesn't belong in your greenhouse, that's fine, but just know that's what you're doing. I'm staying married to someone who does not belong in my greenhouse. I'm staying married to someone who doesn't know how to build a greenhouse. Remember, that's your choice to stay in that marriage, okay? You're not a victim. You're not forced to be there. You're smart. We can come up with a creative way for you to move on to a different world, but you'll not do yourself any favors by being frustrated and resentful and irritated a lot. That burns too much good brain time that could be spent on saving the world.